When we think about the rhetorical situation, we think about four components: purpose, audience, genre, and stance. So I wanted to break those down a little bit and go over that with you all today. The purpose you think about is, why are you communicating? Is it to entertain your audience, persuade your audience, inform, discuss, inspire? Maybe a combination of a few. Starting with that is helping you determine your writing's purpose before you even get started with anything else. It's a good step one. Now, after you establish purpose, you want to think, who is your audience? Is it a coworker, a classmate, a community of people, a city, customers, clients? How you craft your language, meaning who are you writing for, is important, because a common assumption, understandably, that students make is, well, my instructor is the audience. They're grading it, so I'm writing to them. And that's fair, right? That's literal and fair. The problem is, if you think that your instructor is the audience, you're keeping your mind only in the class. And the goal of this class is to get you thinking outside the classroom. You're learning about how to write professionally to a group of people or to a person outside of the classroom. So, plus, you think if your instructor is the audience, you think, well, I don't have to put all this information. My instructor created the assignment, so they know. I don't have to go into any kind of detail for this part. I can skip it. And you lose points because you're skipping important information. You affect your audience, but your audience affects your writing too. If I told you, hey, I want you to write a speech for a group of kindergartners in a kindergarten class, a speech about pizza. And then if I said, okay, now I want you to write a speech about pizza to a group of 50-plus-year-olds in the restaurant industry, those speeches would be entirely different because of how they're written, or the visual aids that you use, or the tone that you use when you speak to them, right? Your audience is so influential on your writing. How you talk to a friend is entirely different than how you talk to a coworker, or how you talk to a coworker is entirely different than how you talk to maybe a customer. Your writing shapes and changes based on who your audience is. They influence your writing just as much as you influence them. If your audience isn't identified, you'll make assumptions, you may conduct biased information, and you'll have very unclear messages because you're not sure who you're writing to. So you're not sure what to discard or what to expand on. So it's an important aspect, a very important aspect of the rhetorical situation. Genre is the form of writing that you're using and how you design it as well. Genre is not only how you write something, but it's how you design visually how something looks. All of these right here, emails, social media, a letter, a PowerPoint, a YouTube video, an essay, a particular essay for a class, those are all genres. So if we think about genres, they have conventions, which means they're formatted a certain way to help the audience navigate through it. A YouTube video is not effective if it doesn't have a play button or if it doesn't have any video in it. Just as much as a research essay is not effective if it doesn't have any sources. It's part of the conventions of those two separate genres. So I have some examples here that I'm going to kind of feel free to read these. I have this PowerPoint available to you all if you'd rather read at your leisure. Genre number one, this is a text message. So if I said, how does a text message look? And what should go in a text message? If I asked you that right now, what would you start thinking? What would be the conventions of it? You maybe would start thinking, well, it would have usually short sentences, maybe emojis, text bubbles like these to see who's speaking and what the pattern of the conversation is. Maybe GIFs, if you use GIFs to communicate. Maybe slang, right? Maybe not complete sentences sometimes. Those are conventions in general of a text message. Now, if I told you, what does a menu at a restaurant look like? And what goes in a menu at a restaurant? You start to think of entirely different things than a text message, right? You think, well, a menu needs to have the food categories like appetizers, entrees, desserts, specials, soups, salads, the prices of those items, maybe the calories, maybe the ingredients or nutritional information, etc. Right? That's what you think of. That's a convention of a menu. If I told you to design it, it wouldn't be effective if you had one long paragraph of all that information, just one bulky paragraph. That would be frustrating for customers to try to read it, right? It would be very confusing. So using section headings for those different categories is how you think about the conventions of a menu with how it's designed as well. Genre 3, an academic research essay, quite different than a text message and a menu at a restaurant, right? No color involved, right? No pictures, complete sentences, full paragraphs, no slang, black font, white paper, double spaced maybe, in-text citations, a reference page, very, very formal looking in design. It has transitions to connect paragraphs. Those are all the conventions of an academic research essay. Now, you all aren't in an essay writing class. This class is very different than essay writing, but just so you know, music has genres, right? Rock sounds a certain way, rap sounds a certain way, electronica sounds a certain way. Sometimes artists and songs combine a few together. But when I listen to a song from the rock world or the hip hop industry or the electronica world, I have a certain expectation on the conventions of how it's going to sound or maybe what the lyrics will be like. If I watch a movie, movies have genres. I go into a comedy expecting to laugh, right? I go into a scary movie expecting to be scared and jump and hear screams and loud noises. Um, those are all conventions of those types of music and movie genres. So writing essays have genres as well. A narrative essay is written entirely different than a research essay. A persuasive essay is trying to convince the audience using credibility and research maybe to believe something. An analysis essay is the author trying to understand the meaning of something. Each one of these essays are written entirely different. So they're their own genres, just like music has its own genres, and just like movies have its own genres. And even though you're not in an essay writing class for this class, you're drafting different workplace documents, and all of those documents look and are written entirely different from each other. To name a few, not all of the writing that we'll do in this class, but an email is formatted and written very differently than a letter. And a letter is formatted and written very differently than a memo. So email, letters, and memos are three very different workplace writing genres that you'll learn about in this class, plus a few others. So stay tuned. Last is stance. Stance is just your attitude that you have when you write and when you communicate in general. Because remember, communication isn't only writing, right? It's digital communication, handwritten, typing, verbally speaking, non-verbal communication through sign language, for example. These are all different communication styles. So stance is your attitude. Are you happy, excited, sad, angry, passionate, neutral? Using tone words hints to the audience what emotion you might want them to feel or that you feel when you're writing. Because when we write, we can't carry that emotion as much as when we talk. We can use, or when we include visuals, we can include visuals or sounds that indicate emotion. But when we write, we have to think about tone words that help share what our emotion is. My blood boiled at the thought of being near them. Their shriek voice drives me to insanity. I can't stand their behavior and negative opinions about everyone. So dramatic, right? Everything in bold are tone words to hint that, hey, I'm frustrated and I want you to feel that frustration too. I think of the green mountains encapsulating the gorgeous lake. The fresh air brings me peace. The comforting sound embrace me and I'm protected. My smile mirrors the sun's rays. Those words in bold are helping you picture a feeling of comfort, calm, serenity, things like that. More stance if you're interested. The first example is more of an angry tone because words like furious, frustrating, I'm put in a lot of hard work and nothing happened, I'm stressed. There's a tone of anger and frustration or stress there. I can't stop smiling and I'm thrilled to hear the news. What a time to celebrate. We get to cherish the memories forever. There's a general feeling of happiness or excitement there. This is a good one. If you maybe the task is, oh, I shouldn't share my emotion or my opinion. This is an important way for me to just inform the audience about something and leave my opinion or my personal connections out. That happens a lot more with research and formal writing. The research demonstrates that technology can assist in the practical application of classroom activities. However, other research discusses the distraction it may cause. I don't know the author's opinion there. They're not saying if they're for or against technology in the classroom. They're showing you both perspectives. So their tone is neutral. They're being informative about it, and that's it. Versus if they just included the first sentence or just the second sentence, we would know an opinion instead. Coconut cookies are delicious. Their sugary crusts mixed with the fresh coconut taste is the perfect snack in the afternoon. I don't really like coconut cookies, so I don't even know why I put that. I don't even know why I wrote that. The tone is persuasive because I'm trying to, hey, coconut cookies are delicious. The word delicious hints that it's an opinion about something. So I'm going to persuade you to try them, and here's why. It's persuasive. So all of these are different. It's how you take stance on in your writing. When you combine these four things, purpose, audience, genre, and stance, you're fully taking on the rhetorical situation. It's called the rhetorical situation because a lot of the scenarios or topics in this class you're not currently involved in, you're not relating to, maybe. So you have to place yourself in that situation as if you're in that moment in time because it helps you with your writing and it helps you not only get started with the writing task, but knowing these four things together, these four concepts together. Sorry, my cat is going crazy. Helps you have clear and effective communication so that nothing gets lost in translation in the process in how you're trying to communicate. If I told you right now, pretend we're in a face-to-face class and pretend you missed class, you're pretending, right? So you're thinking, okay, I didn't miss class. So I have to place myself in that situation as if I did. So my purpose is to inform my instructor that I missed class. My audience is my instructor, so I know to be respectful. I can't use slang. I can't be like, "Hey, yo, miss, what's up?" I mean, I would laugh, it'd be fine. But all joking aside, you have to be formal, right? Because that's your audience. You're talking to your instructor, not versus if I told you to text your friend about missing class, your language would totally change, right? If I told you the genre would be an email, you would know, okay, it's an email. So it's going to look a particular way. It's got to start with dear instructor's name. It can't be too long, right? You don't want pages and pages of an email, half a page or less. And then you want to close with sincerely in your name. Keep it short to the point. That's you thinking about the genre of an email and its conventions. And then the stance is maybe that you feel worried or concerned. So you use words to show the instructor that you care and that you're concerned. What can you do about missing class? Combining those four together would help you get that email done and out of the way and putting yourself in the rhetorical situation as if it happened. And knowing those, like I said, helps you have clear and effective communication to that audience that you are directing your message to. So let me know if you all have any questions about that as you progress in our class.